Before the charts and the borderlines, before a crown was drawn, this country breathed in dreaming tracks since the first red dawn. Songlines stitched the land and sea, from desert, reef and plain. Elders spoke with fire and stars, called every hill by name. This land remembers every step, every hand that came, every promise whispered soft, every broken name. From old time's ground to the bitumen sound, hear the past resound. Australia sings in 1,000 tongues beneath this dusted ground. Then tall ships cut the waterline with iron, ink and law. Flags were planted in stolen sand, they called it empty shore. Chains were laid where camps once stood, muskets backed the claim, and blood ran into river bends that still don't speak its name. This land remembers every step, every hand that came, every promise whispered soft, every broken name. From old time's ground to the bitumen sound, hear the past resound. Australia sings in 1,000 tongues beneath this dusted ground. Head north now to Queensland Sun, where the heat bites hard, where rainforest meets the cattle run, and the reef guards yard by yard. Black soil plains and sugarcane, red dirt, sweat and lies, where frontier days were paid in lives beneath the open skies. They pushed them off the riverbanks, the creeks, the hunting ground. Missions, fences, poison flew, or silence was the sound. Children taken, language torn, law came down one way, while settlers rode a progress made and turned their eyes away. This land remembers every step, every hand that came, every promise whispered soft, every broken name. From old time's ground to the bitumen sound, hear the past resound. Australia sings in 1,000 tongues beneath this dusted ground. But culture lives in quiet strength, in stories passed at night, in scars that speak of survival more than only fight. From Cape York winds to desert stone, the old ways still remain, not frozen in a history book, but walking now in pain. This ain't a song to point the blame and then be done. It's a call to face the mirror in the heart of Queensland sun. You can't heal what you won't name, can't share what's never known. A country's more than fences, flags, or crowns on borrowed throne. This land remembers every step, every hand that came, every promise whispered soft, every broken name. So listen close and tread it slow, let truth be your ground. Australia's still becoming, hear that future sound. From the first song sung to the road trains run, this story's old, but it's not done. before rails cut the earth, before axes rang loud, before fences were written in wire and in plow. This country was known by the old dreaming way, where the Bauple nut fell and the people would stay. They named it Bauple, the nut of the tree, what the world calls macadamia, but it started right here, in the shade of the forest, in knowledge passed down, long before there was ever a place called a town. The mountains stood watching the rivers run slow, from Namber to Mary, where the trade boats would go. And smoke spoke the language of valley to hill, a signal, a warning, a promise of will. One day, a young boy, hurt and alone, lost in the scrub where the bunyas had grown. With shaking hands and the night closing in, he struck up a fire on the mountain's bare skin. And the smoke rose straight into the wide open sky, said I am okay, as it drifted on high. From ridge down to river, the message was known. By firelight and faith, he was not alone. Under Bauple Mountain, strong and true, that fire still burns in the stories we knew. They saw it from far, that thin column of gray, a language of smoke that still speaks today. The first call for help that the land understood, a meeting of courage and old knowledge good. So they climbed through the dark with the dawn in their eyes, found the boy by the embers as the sun started rise. And the mountain remembered, the country stood still, for a life had been saved by the strength of his will. Then settlers came later with timber and cane, built sidings and homes in the coastal plain. Bophal house standing steady through heat and through years, holding laughter and loss, holding hope and some tears. From the sunshine plantation rolled a nut big and bold, a nutmobile story the old locals told. And down through the hinterland, bright in the sun, stood a big yellow pineapple, watching trade run. From the river port days to the slow modern miles, from bullock teams straining to roadside smiles, the past walks beside us, though quiet somehow, in the nut and the mountain, in the name Bophal now. Under Bauple Mountain, weathered and gray, the land still remembers what words cannot say. You can measure a town by its roads and its signs, or the years written down in official lines, but the truth of a place lives deep in the ground, in the first spark of fire and the smoke curling round. So if you stand on that mountain when the evening is still, and the shadows stretch long across valley and hill. Remember the boy and the fire burning small, saying I'm okay, the bravest call of them all. From Bauple not dreaming to the town we see, this country holds stories, it always will be. As long as smoke once spoke and the mountain stands tall, Bauple lives on, watching over us all.
Come listen, cobbers, and I'll sing you a tale from the old bachelor dreaming, carried on gale of the mountain they call Bophal. Bauple they now say, where the past walks beside us and never fades away. There lived a young warrior, Bophal his name, tall, strong in the spear throw, steady in flame. I'll climb that high mountain, I'll walk it alone, to learn what it teaches of earth, sky, and stone. He packed up his dallum with care for the track, not knowing a Jew lizard slipped quietly back. Small feet, bright eyes, scales warm and tight, a companion by chance in the bushland's soft light. Up Bauple he climbed, where the granite stands old, where the wind hums stories the ancestors told. But a slip on the rock turned his strength into pain. Down he fell hard, ankle twisted in strain. He called to the land, and the land answered true, for the Jew lizard ran as good kinfolk do. He found wool in the wallaby, sure-footed and wise, who fetched cooling water beneath open skies. Then cockatoos came with a rattle and cry, white wings flashing bright as they cut through the sky. They brought him rich nuts from the mountain-grown tree, food strong with the power of land and memory. Bauple ate well, but his heart still yearned for the warmth of his people, for lessons unlearned. So the cockatoos flew to the campfire below, and fanned up the fire till the smoke rose slow. They weaved through the smoke in great looping designs, drawing signs in the air, ancient message lines. The bachelor watched, and their elders all knew, this smoke speaks to us, it is calling us through. They followed the signal, the winding grey trail, up mountain and ridge, through scrub, rock, and vale. They found young Bauple where the old stones lie, alive by the land and the hill passing by. In thanks for his courage, his pain, and his part, they named mountain and nut with a grateful heart. Even the Jew lizard, faithful and small, carried Bauple's name, remembered by all. So Bauple stands still and Bauple sounds clear, a story in stone for those willing to hear. A smoke sign and kinship of land lending made, a lore of the old ones, still living, not faded.
Before a line was drawn in sand, before a name was penned, this country knew its seasons well, with stories without end. From desert red to reeflet blue, through forest, plain and range, First Nations cared for country here, through deep and living change. With songlines traced across the land, by stars and firelight told, languages as rich as earth, far older far than gold. From Cape York down to border hills, by river, reef and plain, Queensland's heart was beating strong before a crown it claimed. So sing it slow and sing it true, this land remembers still, every step and every name, each river, range and hill. From the dream into the modern day, through drought and flood and storm, Queensland stands on ancient ground, resilient, scarred, reborn. In 1770 by the sea, where paper barks still stand, the Endeavour found its anchorage near the shore of sand. They named the place for time alone, a number, not a town. But long before the maps were drawn, this coast was known and bound to people with a deeper claim than any flag could fly, whose law was land and water both, whose truth was in the sky. The meeting there was not the start, though books may say it's so, for history ran long before that tall ship's shadow fell below. So sing it slow and sing it true, this land remembers still, every step and every name, each river, range and hill. From the dream into the modern day, through drought and flood and storm, Queensland stands on ancient ground, resilient, scarred, reborn. Up Brisbane River camps grew wide, then Ipswich coal and clay, to Woomba on the mountain rim, where cold winds clear the day. The squatters rode the open runs, the fences crossed the land, and progress came with broken ties few chose to understand. Rockhampton by the Fitzroys, Ben Mackay with Sugarcane, Bundaberg and rum-soaked nights and calloused hands in rain. Townsville watched the tropic sun on coral sea and shore, while Mount Isa dug the red earth deep and asked for more. Cairns awoke with monsoon rains and rails through jungle green. The reef shone bright with fragile light, the finest ever seen. Through strikes and wars and changing laws, through loss and slow repair, the voices once pushed to the edge are rising everywhere. Today we walk more carefully, or try at least to learn that country's not a thing you own, but something you return. With truth-telling in the open air and listening as law, Queensland's future finds its strength in what came long before. So sing it slow and sing it true, let every voice be heard, from ancient tongue to modern song, from silence into word. From 1770 shore to Cape York's burning sun, Queensland's story isn't done, it's many threads in one. Come listen, good folk, and I'll sing you a tale of a town by the river where history sails, where the Mary runs wide through the sunburned land, on Bachelor country, sea joined and sand. Before charts were drawn, or tall ships were known, before forests were cut, and the seeds oversown, the Bachelor lived, strung by river and sea, from the mainland's dark soil to Gari. Gari, bright island of sand, lake and sky, paradise spoken where ancestors lie. Her dunes held the law and the stories of old, of spirits and seasons, of fire and cold. They walked songlines tied to the tide's steady turn. Each place held a lesson the young ones would learn. River and island, mangrove and bay, all part of one country, one living way. Then up from the sea in the 1840s came cedar men, chasing red timber fortunes. Axes rang sharp where the old pads lay, and silence grew heavy where songs once stayed. The first town sat low where the flood waters came, and the river reminded all men of her claim. So they shifted her north to higher ground, yet Bachelor country stayed all around. Gold, dust and sugar, the tall ships arrive, with labor and loss tightly woven and twined. Islanders, migrants, and stories untold, while ancient connections lay buried in gold. Steam whistles in yards by the river's long bend, forged iron and fire the young nation would send. Great engines rolled out across valley and plain, built on old country that still bore the strain. And born near this river where stories take wing was a girl who would teach even grown folk to sing. Though she wandered far, still the echoes agree, her roots traced back home, past the town to the sea. Through flood, fire and time, through forgetting and fight, through learning to listen and name wrongs aright, the town slowly hears what was always true. That country remembers, though people pass through. So stand now in respect where the Mary runs free. Give thanks to the first ones, the first memory.
to the Bajala people whose culture remains in Gari, the river, the wind and the plains.
There's a line on the rail north of Maryborough town, where the scrub meets the paddocks and the sun's beating down. They called it Bauple, just a siding at first, but the land had a story written in dust. Old bunyip pines stood tall in the sky, watched the first axis swing, heard the bullock teams cry. Timbermen dreaming, sweat on their brow, building a future where Bauple stands now. Under Bauple Mountain, strong and still, she's seen the years roll by, and always will. From the whistle of trains to the quiet of dawn, that mountain remembers how Bauple was born. Before fences and rails, before town names were drawn, the land had its people, their stories, their song. They walked with the seasons, knew river and tree, a history deeper than you or than me. Then cane fields grew green in the coastal heat, hands cut the harvest, row by feet. Hard days, long nights, but a town took its shape, with hope in their hearts and blisters to take. Under Bauple Mountain, weathered and wild, she watched generations live, love and try. Through flood and through fire, through loss and through gain, she stood there steady through sunshine and rain. The school bell rang out, kids barefoot and loud, the hall filled with laughter, the pub drew a crowd. Saturday footy, a cold beer or two, everyone knew everyone, that's just what you do. Trains don't stop much now, the road runs the show, but the soul of the town's in the things you can't tow. In away from a ute, in a yarn told slow, in the pride of a place that you never outgrow. Time moves on, yeah, the world spins fast, the roots run deep when they're built to last. You can leave for years, you can roam far away, but Bubble's in your blood, it'll call you back someday. under Bauple Mountain, old and true. She's more than just a backdrop, she's part of you. From timber and cane to the lives lived proud, that's the heart of Bauple singing out loud. So here's to the town and the stories we share, to the past and the soil and the future we dare. As long as that mountain's touching the sky, Bauple lives on, and so do I.
Come listen, good folk, and I'll sing you a tale of a town by the river where history sails, where the Mary runs wide through the sunburnt land, and the ghosts of the past still walk hand in hand. Before charts were drawn and the axes rang true, the bachelor lived strong where the salt breezes blew. They knew every bend and each mangrove and sand long before it was named by a settler's hand. Then up from the sea in the 1840s came timbermen chasing red cedar fortunes. They hauled from the scrub where the mosquito swore, till the river ran busy with sawdust and ore. The first camp stood south where the river ran wide, but floods claimed the ground and the town had to slide. So they shifted her north to a higher dry shore, and Maryborough stood firm ever after once more. Gold, dust and sugar, the ships came in line, with rum in the hold and the world on their mind. From China and Europe, from islands afar, they labored and bled 'neath the Queensland star. Cane fires at dusk lit the sky red and bright. Steam whistles called to work in the dead of the night, and the Mary rolled on thick with sweat, hope and dreams, bearing fortunes and heartbreak in equal extremes. From these yards and sheds by the river's brown sweep rose a shipbuilding town with her promise to keep. For the walkers built engines of iron and flame that carried our nation and forged her a name. And born in this place by the river's slow bend was a girl who would travel where stories all end. P.L. Travers they called her, though the world came to see Mary Poppins fly free from a Maryborough street. Flood, fire, and fortune have tested her spine, yet she stands weathered strong like the hoop pine, with verandas that whisper of dances and tears, and streets paved with echoes of 100 hard years. So raise up a glass to the Mary's broad flow, to the old and the new, to the high and the low. For Maryborough lives in her people and ground, a bush town, a port, with her heart river bound. When the gold lit up Gympie in 1867, they came with picks and battered hopes to try their luck again.
The merry river whispered low through iron bark and gum, on country old as dreaming time, long before we'd come.
For this was Cooby country, song lines in the loam, where footsteps left in ochre paths had always marked a home.
The rivers knew their true names first, the hills their ancient law, before the tents and timber mills and hunger for the ore.
Down Maryborough's wide streets rolled wool and sugarcane. Ships rode tides the butchula knew by star and wind and rain.
From gory sands the stories ran through sea and mangrove root, while sawmills sang of empire dreams and boots replaced the barefoot.
In 1859 the lines were drawn anew. Queensland stood a colony, young, brash, and believing too. Split from New South Wales, long reached by politics and pride, yet older nations still endured on every riverside. Past Noses calm and coastal lakes, where paper barks lean low, through Maroochydore and Caloundra, where the glassy waters flow.
The gubby walk these sands by moon and coral light, their names still hum beneath the surf, half heard by passing sight. Brisbane rose on river bends, where turble fires once shone. The Eugura kept the crossing places, stone by patient stone.
Now steel and glass reflect the sky, where cooler bars once grew, yet the river bends remember all it carried through. Southward still the paddocks run through Logan's red clay ground, to Cane and Coast and canal lines, where the old bush tracks were found.
On Ugambil and the ranges fall toward the ocean wide, where border posts would later stand, thin scratches in the tide.
And at the line where Tweed's Green Valley meets Queensland's final mile, the bush still sings of hardship, hope and time's enduring trial.
From Gympie's gold to border hills, one long unbroken song, new stories laid on ancient ground, where all of us belong.
Sugarcane before the fences drawn, the mountain stood in silence at the breaking of the dawn. Dark silhouettes on country old, where spirits still remain, the ancient peaks of dreaming time above the coastal plain.
The old ones told the story by the fire's soft glow, of Tibbergargan standing tall and children down below. A beer wall wept her tears of stone Cunoran bore the blame. A family locked in sky and rock and dreaming given name.
The people walked that country with a careful knowing tread, reading signs and wind and bird and words, the elders said. The mountains were not scenery nor land to buy or sell, but law and life and memory and stories they would tell.
Then sails appeared on shifting seas and boots upon the ground. Strange tongues named the mountains for the furnaces they found. Axes rang and tracks were cut, the bush began to change, and paper maps replaced the song of country wide and strange.
Timber fell and towns grew up, rails hummed through the trees. Farms spread out beneath the peaks in stubborn industry. Some listened to the land's old voice, some never heard a sound, but the mountains kept on watching every soul that crossed their ground.
Through wars and roads and weekend crowds, through sweat and broken stone, the peaks stood fast through grief and pride and truth long left alone.
Now voices rise to speak again of stories pushed aside, of ancient lore and living care for country's wounded side. So if you stand at sunset when the sky turns red and blue, and feel a weight you cannot name settle deep in you, remember those who sang before and those who sing today. The glasshouse mountains hold us all, no matter which way we came.
For stone remembers every step, each promise kept or torn, and country waits for listening hearts as surely as each morn. From dreaming old to modern roads, through loss and hope and pain, the mountains stand, the stories breathe on Queensland's coastal plain.
Shun all the youths in a crooked line, steel-capped boots kicked off by the fence, dirt under nails, but the lawns are clean. Whole week sweat and the smell of the green. We're the Saturday Arvo crew, hands in the earth, sky so blue, laughing about nothing and everything too. Side by side we make this view, garden beds in a coat or two. This is home, this Saturday Arvo crew. Kids on the tank, yelling footy scores. Kettle on, flies chasing one back door. Hoses curl round like sleepy snakes. Tomato steaks where the old shit shakes. We're the Saturday Arvo crew, hands in the earth, sky so blue, laughing about nothing and everything too. Side by side we make this view, garden beds and a coat or two. This is home, this Saturday Arvo crew. All week long we're scattered wide, different jobs, different roads to drive. But come this time we circle in, same old jokes, same old grins. Hey! We're the Saturday Arvo crew, hands in the earth, sky so blue, laughing about nothing and everything too. Side by side we make this view, garden beds and a coat or two. This is home, this Saturday Arvo crew. Boots by the steps, dirt on our arms, sun sitting lazy on the neighbor's farm. Kettles and eskies, kids on the lawn. We talk about tomatoes and how quick the week was gone. Blokes in the backyard laughing till the day goes dim. Hands that were digging all week, lift the cold one, lean back, breathe in. This little town, this patch of land, holds everything we are. Saturday Arvo, hearts wide open, just blokes in the backyard. Hey! Old Bill's got seedlings wrapped up in twine, passes them over, says mate, they'll do just fine. Stories like seedlings round the rusty old drum, we brag about the pumpkins and the hail we already. Blokes in the backyard laughing till the day goes dim. Hands that were digging all week, lift the cold one, lean back, breathe in. This little town, this patch of land, holds everything we are. Saturday Arvo, hearts wide open, just blokes in the backyard. We don't sing much about feelings, but we stay till the last light falls. Sharing love, sharing burden, sharing space to stand up tall. Yeah. Blokes in the backyard laughing till the day goes dim. Hands that were digging all week, lift the cold one, lean back, breathe in. This little town, this patch of land, holds everything we are. Saturday Arvo, we're strong Before the rails, before the roads, before the skyline shone, when the dunes ran wild like dreaming waves and the hinterland stood strong, there were fires by the river bends, song lions in the air. The old ones walked the ridges high and knew each tide and prayer. From the creeks where eels were shining bright to the forward glidden tall, the Ugambe people sang the land, it answered every call.
Stone and shell and story strong, passed down faithfully.
From the mountains to the mangrove, from the sandhills to the sea. Hey, roll your boots and swing around, let the old tunes carry free. Stamp the dust and clap your hands for land and memory. From the river mouth to the coral edge, where the white tip breakers flee, we dance the past and sing it loud. From the sandhills to the sea. Then sails came cutting southern skies with iron rope and law. Satyrs fell in thunder groans along the Nerang shore.
The camps grew into timber towns, the cattle tracks ran wide. Gold was chased in creeks and dreams along the range's side.
The land was carved, the names were changed, the old songs pushed away. But they lingered in the wind at dusk and waited for this day.
For the earth remembers every step, every voice and play.
From the mountains to the mangroves, from the sandhills to the sea. Hey, heel and toe and circle round, let the fiddles set you free. Spin your partner, feel the ground, feel the old-time harmony. Raise your voice and mark the beat, where the past and present meet. We dance it up, we sing it true, from the sandhills to the sea. Then trams and lights and holiday nights lit up the coastal plain. Surfboards sliced the morning swell, rainbows after rain.
The city rose on shifting sand with glitter, glass and steel. But still the creeks run whispering what only hearts can feel.
For beneath the streets and high-rise dreams, the old world still survives. And let it on and living truth in strong First Nations lives.
What a story lost to yesterday, but one that still must be
heard and sung and danced again, from the sandhills to the sea. Hey, stomp it out and shout it loud, let respect be what you see. This land's alive with ancient song and shared identity. Hold the past and future tight, let them move in harmony. We dance it now together proud, from the sandhills to the sea. Who was here?
the old one strong.
Who's still here?
The culture lives on.
What do we do?
We listen, we learn,
What do we give?
respect in return.
Hey! Boots on boards and hearts held high, let the night ring wild and free. For truthful land, for unity, for history. From the dreaming tracks of long ago to tomorrow yet to be. We dance it on, we sing it strong, from the sandhills to the sea. Hey! Roll your boots and swing around, let the old tunes carry free. Stamp the dust and clap your hands for land and memory. From the river mouth to the coral edge, where the white tip breakers flee. We dance the past and sing it loud, from the sandhills to the sea. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. Back when the highway hummed like a promise in the sand, 50 Sun and caravan dreams rolling through the land. Southport streets were shop front proud, milk bars glowing bright, day trippers chasing winter warmth, dancing through the night. Cane fields bending inland slow, creeks running clean and wide. The nearing roads were 2 lanes then, no towers by the tide. You clock on, clock off, meet your mates, life simple, lean and plain. Before the neon learned to dance, where once there'd only been the cane. From Covent to Camara, hear the engines and the cheers. Every decade left its mark, every laugh and every tear. Stomp it down, then shuffle free. Let the bass line hit the sand. From surfers to Broad Beach, this is home, this is land. Neon lights and working lives, every face we've ever seen. We dance the dust, we raise the sound. Neon dust and sugar cane. The 60s surf came roaring in, boards on roofs, salt in hand.
Surfers' paradise lit up loud, freedom hanging in the air.
The chevron nights, the beer so glass, the jukebox and the draw.
When local pubs and picture shows were temples of the law.
Then came the 70s, bold and wild, high-rise climbing fast.
Dream world gates swung open wide, future eating past.
Pacific Fair was shining new, shopping like a dream, while locals learned to live between the old coast and the gleam. Clap, clap, pause.
Some stayed, some left, some came back home.
This coast has always pulled us close. Hey! Heel toe spinning around, let the rhythm hit your bones. From Burley Heads to Helen's Vale,
These streets we've always known.
hard days and sleepless nights, sweat, salt and champagne. We dance it loud, we dance it proud. Neon dust and sugar cane.
These fresh knives, these grind, cranes against the sky.
Theme parks, tops, traffic jams, learning how to fly.
Miami arts and backyard bands, Currumbin morning light.
Markets, murals, food trucks, rolling deep into the night.
Time sliding through the city veins, new voices, old school crews.
Tradies, artists, OSPO hearts, every color, every view. Still meeting mates at Friday knock, still chasing summer rain. Same coastline, different beat, neon dust and sugar cane. Who built it? Locals did. Who keeps it real? We always did. What's it worth? More than gold. What's the story still being told? Hey, stomp it once, then lose yourself. we dance it on again.
From the red dirt dawn to the coral sea, from dreamtime tracks to bitumen dreams, this one's for the roads, the mobs, the towns. Lift your voice now, Queensland sounds. Before the wheels and the wide lines drawn, song lines ran from dusk to dawn. Footprints etched in stone and sand, oldest roads in the oldest land.
Rivers spoke where the highways bend, mountains knew us as kin and friend. We walked those paths, we still belong. Every road hums an ancient song.
U to G, from the bush to the sea. U to G, hear the crowd agree.
From cane fields, mines, and cattle yards free,
We shout it loud, Queenslander. Brisbane lights and a river bend, rocky towns, hill pans up north again. Toowoomba winds, the Darling Downs. Mount Isa hums without back sound.
Bundy rum nights, Mackie rain, Charters towers, gold in vein. From the Cape to the borderline, every town's a verse in time.
U to G, from the bush to the sea. U to G, hear the crowd agree.
From cane fields, mines, and cattle yards free,
We shout it loud, Queenslander. Bruce Highway rolling coast to coast, Pacific air and a sunburned ghost. Old Gympie Road, the slower way.
Gympie, mate, don't get it wrong, okay.
Matilda runs where the wild things go.
Outback tracks in flood and flow, bull dust clouds and corrugated pain, but we drive them again and again.
Smith Street crawling Friday night, M1 glowing in Gold Coast light. Bush tracks cut through iron bark dreams, every tire hums history. U to G, from the bush to the sea. U to G, hear the crowd agree.
Redwood dirt roads back to origin glory.
We shout it loud, Queenslander. Queenslander.
Before we flood, we rise again. Cyclone scars and summer rain, hand to hand when the sirens call. One more mile, we give it all.
Through fire lines and muddy streets, hope wears boots and never retreats. This land's alive, it knows our name, and it sings us home through wine and flame.
Spin the dust, feel the beat drop low. Utes and boots in a moonlit glow. From bush halls to the city lights, Queensland dances every night.
Cold beer, loud laughs, a busted map. Some tracks to the highways end. From dust and flood we stand, we mend. One land, one voice, one legacy. U to G, Queenslander, we've been.
Red dust roads and river bends, old men talking by the flames, dreaming tracks across this land long before we wrote its name. Stories of the ancient songs, sky and water, stone and sand, every hill and every creek held together by your hand. Hallelujah in the Queensland sun, from the dreaming days to the work we've done. From the cane fields, cattle, coastal rain, you were here before we ever came. Hallelujah on a tired man's day, when the roster rules how we rest and pray. Thank you, maker of the sea and plain, God of Eden, God of this wide range.
Timber camps and wool shed yards, sweat that soaked the Southern Cross. Ships that came to claim new starts, mixed with stories, grief and loss. But in the scrub a preacher read, in the beginning by lantern light, said the one who spoke the stars walks with us through darkest night.
Queensland sun, from the dreaming days to the work we've done. From the gold dust rail lines, old stock trains, you were here in drought and pouring rain.
Hallelujah on a weary heart's day, when the shift runs along and the sky turns gray. Thank you, maker of the sky and grain, God of Eden, God of this wide range.
When I'm out there on the back road, just the crickets and my load,
I remember what you spoke, light and life with every word.
when I'm lonely in the high-rise, neon buzzing, tired eyes.
You're the same one who formed this earth, called it very good, and gave it word.
Now the towers touch the clouds, highways hum from coast to west. Miners, nurses, FIFO crowds, chasing sleep and chasing rest.
But from Cape York down to Coolangatta, from the Isa to the Bay, he who set the stars in order hears us when we stop and say,
Hallelujah in the Queensland sun, from the dreaming days to the work we've done. From the bush track suburbs, busy plains, you are Lord of every hill and plain.
hallelujah on whatever our day, when our Sunday falls on a Wednesday.
Thank you,
Maker of our work and rain,
God of Eden, God of this wide range. So I'll thank you till my shift is through. From the past and now you have seen us through.
from